I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. We're now recording. This is the May 18th meeting of the WTA Board of Directors. Can we please have a roll call and a quorum check?
Yes, Davidson.
Here.
Donovan.
Here.
Fleetwood is currently absent. Hawkinson.
Here.
Huffman.
Here.
Cortice.
Here.
Lautenbach is absent. Lilyquist.
Here.
Sadhu.
Here.
And Darwin.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, so it does look like we have a quorum present. We'll now go to citizen communications. Yesterday, we were emailed. Les did email us some citizen communications. Is there anything else that's written?
Vicki, have you received anything since last night?
No.
Nothing.
Okay, so now we'll open. Thank you, Les. We're now going to open it up here in person. Is there anyone who wishes to address the board? Go ahead, John.
First of all, my name is John Shaughnessy. I've been in this county since 2005, and I've been the head of Friends of Climate Care since 2016. And we're a 501c3 nonprofit, and thanks to COVID, we are very non-profitable. And our main concern, I shouldn't say our only concern, but our main concern is the number of people who get on the bus. And therefore, we're advocating for free buses. We all know they're not free, especially when you pay for them one bus at a time. But on the other hand, if we go to no meters, like I think Island County's already gotten there, we get more people on the bus, we get less people in their cars, we get less pollution, we get less climate change that's bad. We're smart enough to know that climate change is happening every day since the sun created the earth. On the other hand, a more immediate pressing issue is, when can WTA afford to take the giant step from where you are today to where you will be someday? I'm convinced that sooner or later, every bus in the world will be a bus without a fare box. This will cause great unemployment in the fare box industry, but the rest of us will probably pick up the slack because more people will take the bus, get downtown, go shopping, buy things, and then pretty soon someone's going to have to produce more things. I'm not saying that's good for climate care. The important thing to remember is climate care can be pronounced two ways. Friends of Climate care about people, we do. And Friends of Climate Care is what we have to do if we care. And I understand that this concern has been put off for 2 years on the agenda, but as you all know, it will not be put off for 2 years in the climate that we live in. We are inhaling and exhaling the results of our policies. Everybody at this table, everybody in this room, everybody outside this room is inhaling and exhaling the results. What we want as FCC is results. That's our primary concern. How we get results is one reason why we're sitting here and not sleeping late, which is what we probably all wish we were doing. On that happy note, if anybody has any questions about anything in the universe, I have the answers.
Do you? Okay, John, thank you.
I'd say they were the correct answers.
Thank you very much for your message on climate and zero fare possibilities. Is there anyone else here who wishes to speak? Seeing none, we'll go on with our regular agenda, which includes 2 board actions. The first of which is consideration of authorization to dispose of surplus vehicles.
Yes, good morning. I'm going through the process of seeking approval from the board to dispose of 3 vehicles, 2 paratransit and 1 fixed route. All 3 are in poor condition or not even running. So this is just an approval to dispose of them correctly.
I'll move approval.
Second.
We have a motion before us to dispose of surplus vehicles, all of which are in poor condition. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any board members opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you, Andy. The next item is consideration of drug and alcohol program contract.
I got that one.
Great.
So we're asking the board to authorize the general manager to enter a contract with First Laboratories. They do business in Vault, wound source screening and Vault Health to provide our drug and alcohol testing and occupational health services, to execute any extensions under the agreement and approve any change orders within the general manager's approval authority without need for further approval. Some background on this, in anticipation of this, our current contract ending in July, we issued a formal request for proposals in February to find a third-party administrator to provide these services. The drug and alcohol testing program includes all the DOT and FTA mandated testing, which is pre-employment tests, post-accident, random, and reasonable suspicion. And then also in the contract is our occupational health services, which include mostly DOT physicals for our CDL holders, but we also look for other things, do some flu shot clinics and we advertised this request. We received 6 proposals, 5 of which were qualified, and we got together a small panel of current staff members who are involved in the program, and we scored, and the winner was Vault Services. They are our current contractor. They have the most comprehensive package, and their record with compliance is really good. The fiscal impact for this, the cost on the board item is only the drug testing part. If we look at the full cost for the occupational, now is $38,563. So a little bit more. It averages about $3,000 a month. And we do have it budgeted for 2020.
I didn't see an actual term on the contract.
It's a 3-year term.
3-year term with renewals at the discretion of the general manager if we approve it.
Yes.
Board members.
I'll move approval.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion before us to authorize the general manager to enter into a 3-year contract with First Hospital Laboratories to be doing business as Vault Workforce Screening for drug and alcohol screening and some other services. This is a budgeted expense. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? That passed unanimously. Thank you very much, Michelle. The next item is the consent agenda, which consists of approval of routine expenditures and board minutes.
Move to approve.
Second. Second.
Okay, we have a motion before us to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Consent agenda is approved. This is good because I think we now finally have enough time, which we often don't have, for reports to the board. We're often rushed. So let's go through that. First is the June 2023 service implementation. Becky?
So June 11th. June 11th, we're going to be having a minor service change with new transit guides, and we'll be putting all that information out to the public here soon. But it's going to include the changes we made to Route 75, which include extending the routing to Birch Bay Village and C Street in Blaine, as well as reducing the flex areas and adding paratransit service to Route 75. Then we have some minor time point changes to Route 71 that serves Everson and Sumas. This is a flex route, and those are our hardest to schedule, so we often have to just adjust to make it work the best we can. And then after speaking with Lummi Nation, we are changing the Route 50's name from 50 Gooseberry Point to 50 Lummi Nation. So those are just minor changes for this year. And any questions?
Any questions for Becky? Okay.
I have a question.
Well, sorry, this is a board meeting,
Oh,
John.
sorry.
If there are no further questions, thank you very much for that update. We now go to first quarter financial information and ratios. Ms. Shipman?
All right, thank you. Good morning. Yeah, just in the summary for the first quarter, we continue to see revenue increasing with gains in sales tax and fair revenue. With the large cash balances, investment income is higher with the higher interest rates. And we are seeing operating expenses lower than 2022, but that's really due to the retroactive payments for the CBA not being paid until Q2. So we expect next quarter those checks will go out actually next week. So we expect Q2 operating expenses to be closer to budget. Capital expense and capital revenue are moving a little bit in tandem. We've got some capital projects that are being completed. And then when we updated the cash reserve balances, you'll see that the designated funds are a little bit higher than they were at the end of 2022. If you take a look at page 24, we're sitting at 17 million undesignated and 39 million in designated. As we work through the CIP for 2024, I will expect to continue to see those reserve balances growing as we plan to fund the initiatives that we have in front of the board. On page 20, just the two ratios that we're tracking, we received 94% of operating revenues to cover operating expenses. And then in ratio B, you can see that 89.4% of operating expenses to budget is a little bit low due to that delay in the ratification and the record payments. And then the rest are just some graphical demonstrations of the expenses and revenues. Page 22 has the cash and undesignated reserves, and then page 23 and 24 are the financial statements. So I'd be happy to answer any questions from the board.
Go ahead, Scott.
I'm looking at the cash reserves on 22, and the undesignated went up 19 million. Where did that come from?
That's primarily due to the COVID payments.
So did we, so last year we got a COVID payment at some point.
Correct. So by the end
Yeah.
of 2022, we had received all of the COVID payments.
Yep.
But we had a big portion of that. The last payment came in Q1 of this year.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
And about the sales tax revenue.
Good, Dan.
So I see the increase. Do we have any current projections going out into 24 and 25, wondering what those sales tax revenues may or may not be, since we seem to be going up year over year?
Dan, we haven't worked on that yet. So for 2023, we projected a 2% increase over actuals. So that's really kind of a 14% over the budget. But as we start working on the budget projections coming up in the next month or so, then we'll start looking out really 24 through the next 5 years. So we'll be monitoring that. The March receipts come in next week. So we'll take a look at that and see if the trend is continuing. February was still up, but up lower than we've seen in the past. So we're going to continue to watch that, but they'll come out soon.
It seems like there's been continuous concern and rumbling about possible recession. And as it doesn't occur, it seems like our budget projections are always under.
Correct. We're pretty conservative with that. And really, we didn't see a lot of impact on sales tax, even during the pandemic. With the border shut, we expected that. But I think online sales really boosted that because now the sales tax is paid where you receive the goods. So I think that really contributed to that. But we're going to watch it closely. It's just sort of the best guess on what we know right now.
Any further discussion on the financial report? Okay, thank you, Shonda, very much. The next one is first quarter performance report. Mr. Wilder.
Yes, good morning. So as usual, we have two components for the quarterly performance report. One is the agency accomplishments, which I won't read for you. You can read that on your own.
And if you have any questions, we've got staff here to answer those questions. Moving along to performance data, we've got the 3 different modes listed here. And to anticipate any questions you have, we have some typos on the fixed route numbers. So don't look at those too closely. I think they were mistransposed on the numbers, but you can kind of get a sense from the chart, the general trend. And I would mention that the trend for first quarter 2023 looks good over last year. We increased the first quarter from 645,000 up to 944,000 riders. So that's a positive trend. We're seeing about 15,000 passengers a day, which is about 65% of our normal ridership, pre-pandemic ridership. That seems fairly steady, but you do see that increase in the first quarter, which is positive news. And we're seeing that also in the paratransit and the van pool ridership too. So it seems fairly parallel there with the different modes. And then the performance or the efficiency metric, which is passengers per hour, you see that trending upwards for fixed route, also a positive sign, down from the lows of the pandemic. And we're still below the 2019, but it's definitely a progression upwards. And then paratransit is fairly flat in terms of its performance, around 2.4 passengers per hour. And the van pool is about the same number of vans, although I think we are adding a couple here, some new requests. So with that, I'll see if there are any questions from the board.
Board members, any questions on the performance data? Scott?
Yeah, on fixed route, is that trend national as well, like running 65% of 2019?
That's very standard, yeah.
And do we know, is it people are working from home, people gave up on transit? Do we know where these people are or where they went?
Yeah, that's that does vary by community. You might have read Seattle Times a lot about no longer as many downtown workers, a lot of people working from home. And I think that's partly the case here, but I think we have a different dynamic. You know, the central business district isn't as strong, obviously, as downtown Seattle. So a few different dynamics. I think it's, teleworking is definitely one. Teleschool is part of that as well. You have the safety concerns, which is pretty uniform around the industry. That's a big one as well. And people have found other ways to get around, I think, too, as well. So you have some of those different dynamics, but I think the pressure there is more varied in our community than it is, say, in the Seattle area, where it's really being pushed by a lot of downtown workers.
And the western piece, is it at 65% too, or does it follow the trend of everything else?
It does, yeah. So what's going on there is, I think my guess is that a lot of the students probably decided to not take the bus, probably walking now or something, So, and maybe a few of them aren't taking as many classes on campus. Okay, shifted a little bit there.
Thanks.
Good morning, Tim. Could you also throw in Whatcom Community College? Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, that's a big driver too. Whatcom Community College obviously is not fully in person. They have a significant number of students who are remote. So that's a big change for us. And that was a large source of ridership. So you're seeing that significant trend. Thank you, Les.
Thanks, Les, for flagging that one too. Anything else to discuss on the performance report? Thank you very much. General Manager Report. Les, you actually have time.
Yes. Now my long-windedness will take 40 minutes.
No.
You're breaking up.
No, I promise not to do that to you. I apologize for not being there in person, but I'm at the State Transportation Improvement Board today and tomorrow. So we've got a couple things wanted to pass along. One, we have started a relationship with the homeless outreach team, talking about the safety security aspect, and I'll ask Jeff to give us a quick update on where we stand with the transportation safety officers. But in meeting with the homeless outreach team, and Michael, thank you for the contacts as well. Been talking with Marissa and Terry from them, the Opportunity Council. They've been a real good partner and have helped us
kind of provide a tree of responses depending on behavior and things. So I look forward to that partnership expanding. They were also very helpful with some training things, including some trainings that we could offer on resiliency. Obviously they deal with things all day, and how do they keep resilient to come back and face it again. So that's good discussions ongoing. Want to thank the county and the county exec for involving us on the jail discussion. So we've had an opportunity to meet with Barry Buchanan and try to get a layout there. And so we're now involved in that. As that moves forward, we are involved in that process. So that's good. Then the Engage WTA website went live on Monday. That's a way to enhance public communication on some of our initiatives and projects we have going. Tim led the effort there. I'll pause there, see if Tim, if you want to say anything on that.
No, and I wish I could share that with you today, but the website is specifically engage.ridewta.com. So if you want to go in and look at that site, we encourage you to go check out the project. We have, I think, 4 projects up there now. One is the Zero Emission Fleet Transition Study, which we'll be talking about later in July with the board. Got the BTS Visioning Project, which will also be coming to you soon. And we have a bike to work, bike to school, a page, and we have sustainability plan. So we have those 4 projects that are posted, and we plan on adding projects over time as we begin working on those.
Thanks, Tim. Let's see, on the audits, they're underway, and thanks to Aaron and Shonda for leading the way with that. Things are clicking along well on that, and we'll let you know when there's an exit conference. Shonda, do you have anything you want to add on that other than things are clicking along?
Things are going really well. We expect they will be done by the end of May. And there really haven't been any material issues that have been identified. And really Erin's leading that. So I can give her all the kudos for that.
Big kudos to Aaron for implementing the new GASB on leases and where that's going. That's a new rule and regulation and very complicated, and kudos to Aaron for that. And then Jeff, can I turn it over to you on the an update on the transit safety officer?
Sure. Thanks, Les.
Thanks.
So June 19th, we have 3 individuals that have been hired last week to start in our transit safety officer program. And they'll start their training in June, spend a couple of weeks doing some training and getting their feet on the ground. And then by July 1st, we hope to have those folks out in the community, on our buses, on the properties, helping support staff, supervisors, expediters, operators with folks that are having difficulty following our code of conduct, assisting passengers in any way that we can. And so we look to have those folks out in the field very shortly to help with safety and security issues. So we're looking forward to that.
Great. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it. And then last, but certainly not least, is a quick recap of the rodeo. Jonathan Taylor is off to the National Rodeo Competition from last year's successful rodeo. But we had our rodeo coming up on 2 Sundays ago, May 7th. And very successful event as we're coming out of COVID and expanding back. It was a super fun day. We some of the winners in the Maverick division, which are those with CDLs but don't necessarily drive. We had Kevin Vanderhorst win, Corey Ryder second, and Ryan Kennedy third. Rookie of the year on both fixed route and paratransit was Matt James. And paratransit side, Jonathan Taylor won with Tom Kingsman second and Matt James third. On the fixed route, Jonathan Taylor again, so he swept both. Jeff James third and second, and Matt James third. Interesting note that Jeff and Matt are father and son. So there's a little fun competition going on there. But it was a great day. Had a magic show and a little petting zoo, and it was a good time, I think, by everybody, and lots of good food. So that's pending questions. That's all I've got.
Thank you. So for those of us here, we are actually passed out a copy of the omnibus, the WTA employee newsletter. I don't know if I'd seen that before. I thought it was quite valuable to read. Maybe send it along to all the board members who aren't here so we can take a look at it. Who puts this out? It's quarterly, right?
So Maureen and Genevieve pull it together, bringing back. I'm not sure when we used to have one. I'm not sure when it ended, but have brought it back. And Genevieve and Maureen do a great job of coordinating that. And it's a real team effort, though, throughout WTA, with people submitting items to it. It is part of a layered approach to improve communications. We have our employee forums that we do 3 times a year. We've got that. Got question and answers that we try to loop back, close the loop on that. Had a two-way communications group made up of a cross-section of WTA employees, help us figure out a better way to communicate what's going on in WTA. And this is one great effort of that. So I'll pause there.
Thank you very much. And then finally, I noticed apparently WTA has joined Team Kraken. Was that a general manager decision? The buses are all covered with it.
Well, as a Chicago Blackhawk fan growing up, it pained me a little bit. The Blackhawks were terrible, so go Kraken.
Okay. Is there any further business for the WTA Board of Directors? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting. Thank you, everybody. We're adjourned.